Ford and Ram just issued a massive warning for the automotive industry. And if you're thinking about buying a car or own stock in any automaker, this could either save your financial future or destroy it completely. Right now, while you're watching this video, Stellantis, the company that owns Ram, Jeep, and Dodge, just reported a catastrophic $2.7 billion loss in a single quarter. But that's not the scary part. The scary part is what Ford's CEO said in an emergency meeting last week that sent shockwaves through every boardroom in Detroit. Meet Jennifer, a loyal Ram truck owner who's been waiting 2 years to upgrade her 2019 1500. Last month, she walked into her local dealer and discovered her trade-in was worth $8,000 less than she expected, while the new truck she wanted had a sticker price $15,000 higher than the same model cost just 18 months ago. Jennifer walked out empty-handed, and she's not alone. Millions of customers are doing the same thing, creating an inventory crisis that's bleeding manufacturers dry, while dealerships sit on billions of dollars worth of vehicles nobody can afford. But here's the warning that Ford and Ram executives are whispering in closed-door meetings. This isn't just about high prices or economic uncertainty. This is about a fundamental shift in consumer behavior that threatens to destroy the business model that sustained the American auto industry for decades. The question isn't whether these companies will survive the current crisis. It's whether they'll still exist when customers finally decide they're ready to buy cars again. Jennifer's story begins with hope and ends in disbelief. She's owned her Ram 1500 since 2019, the kind of truck that once promised security and pride. For 2 years, she watched the market, expecting to trade up, just like her father did, and his father before him. Instead, she walked into the dealership and found her equity had vanished. The number on the trade-in offer, $8,000 less than she'd budgeted, almost a year's worth of payments erased overnight. The truck she wanted, a familiar trim, now wore a sticker price $15,000 higher than the last time she checked. That's not a typo. $15,000 added in just 18 months. The salesman shrugged. The incentives were gone. No rebates, no deals, just a monthly payment that would swallow half her take-home pay. Jennifer did the math in her head. Even with a bigger down payment, even if she stretched the loan to 7 years, the numbers didn't work. She ran her hand along the fender, remembering when a new truck was a reward for hard work, not a financial trap. She left the keys in her pocket and walked out. She's not alone. Across the country, millions of buyers are making the same decision. Showroom traffic has dropped, contracts are canceled mid-signature, and the echo of empty footsteps bounces off unsold trucks lined up in rows. The American ritual, trade in, trade up, drive home proud, has broken down. For Jennifer, the dealership was no longer a place of possibility, but a wall. Her old truck still runs, but the promise of something better has faded. The dream of the new, the reliable, the reward for loyalty. That's what's missing now. And every time another buyer like Jennifer walks away, it's not just a lost sale. It's a warning shot, ricocheting from dealer lots to Detroit boardrooms. The numbers on the window sticker aren't just high. They're a signal that something fundamental has changed. And the people forced to walk away are the first to feel it. Stellantis released its quarterly earnings, and the numbers landed like a punch to the gut. A $2.7 billion loss. 1 quarter, wiped out. The culprit, a mountain of unsold Ram trucks, price tags that kept climbing, and a wave of buyers who simply stopped showing up. For years, Detroit's business model has depended on Americans like Jennifer trading up, signing for 7-year loans, and driving home in trucks that cost more than some houses. Now, that cycle has collapsed. Executives at Stellantis and Ford watched as their balance sheets bled red. Stellantis slashed nearly 2,500 jobs, canceled old Ram 1500 models, and tried to pivot to newer, pricier versions. But the inventory kept piling up. Ford, facing its own crisis, saw warranty costs explode past $4 billion in a single year, driven by a surge in recalls and quality complaints. That's not just a line item. That's enough to wipe out years of profit for entire divisions. Inside Detroit boardrooms, the mood turned from confident to desperate. The old playbook, raise prices, push incentives, keep the assembly lines running, no longer works. Every empty showroom, every canceled contract echoes through company ledgers. The losses aren't theoretical. They're measured in layoffs, shuttered service centers, and dealerships teetering on the edge of bankruptcy. For Stellantis, the $2.7 billion quarterly deficit is more than a financial setback. It's a warning flare. Ford's $4 billion warranty bill means every quality slip, every failed recall, now carries a cost that can't be ignored. Dealers sit on lots worth $25 to $40 million, paying interest on trucks nobody wants, watching floor plan costs triple since 2020. Banks demand balloon payments. Staff are cut. Service departments sit idle, waiting for customers who never arrive. The pain isn't limited to one company or one unlucky buyer. It's systemic. The American auto industry, once built on loyalty and upward mobility, now faces a reckoning measured in billions. As the financial hemorrhage spreads, the question shifts from who can afford a new truck to whether the companies themselves can survive the storm. Pickups have always been more than vehicles. For Detroit, they are the lifeblood of the business, the one product that could be counted on to keep the lights on, pay dividends, and fund the next big bet. Ford and Ram built their empires on this foundation, selling the dream of the open road to generations of Americans. Every ad, every sponsorship, every Super Bowl halftime show hammered home the same message: real men drive trucks. The F-150 and Ram 1500 became more than models. They were badges of honor, symbols of hard work, and the ticket to upward mobility for millions of middle-aged men. But behind the chrome and country music, the math was simple. Trucks brought in margins that sedans and compacts never could. On a $70,000 pickup, manufacturers could clear $12,000 or more in profit, enough to bankroll research, cover recall costs, and keep shareholders happy. For years, this formula worked. Buyers lined up, trading in last year's model for something bigger, tougher, and more expensive. The cycle was self-reinforcing. Price hikes were shrugged off, loans stretched longer, and loyalty programs kept drivers coming back. Marketers leaned into the culture, painting pickups as essential tools for fathers, contractors, and anyone who wanted to project strength. The numbers backed it up. In 2023, over 80% of full-size truck buyers were men between 35 and 64. For them, owning a truck wasn't just about transportation. It was about identity. Ford and Ram counted on that. They bet everything on the idea that, no matter the price, Americans would keep coming back for more. But now, with buyers walking away and lots overflowing, that bet looks reckless. The business model that once guaranteed profit has become a trap. Every unsold truck on a dealer lot is a reminder that the old rules don't work anymore. And for the first time in decades, the question isn't how many trucks Detroit can sell. It's whether anyone is still willing to buy. In early 2020, the global supply chain snapped. Factories in Asia shut down, ports backed up, and a wave of panic buying hit every corner of the auto industry. Suddenly, the microchips that control everything from transmissions to touchscreens were nowhere to be found. Assembly lines in Michigan and Kentucky sat idle for weeks, sometimes months. Ford and Ram slashed production targets, but the backlog just kept growing. By the time new trucks finally rolled off the line, demand had exploded. Dealers auctioned used pickups for more than their original sticker price. In some cities, a 2-year-old F-150 or Ram 1500 sold for $5,000 over MSRP, an upside-down world where depreciation vanished overnight. But scarcity breeds its own problems. As inventory dried up, manufacturers misread the moment. They raised prices, betting that buyers would keep paying whatever it took. Stellantis led the charge, hiking Ram prices faster than any rival. Ford followed suit, trimming incentives, cutting rebates, and watching as monthly payments soared past $750 for a new truck. Buyers desperate for wheels stretched loans to 84 months, then 96. The average down payment shrank, and more families rolled negative equity from old loans into new ones, setting the stage for disaster. The chip shortage eased in late 2022, but by then the damage was done. Dealers, flush with overpriced inventory, found themselves trapped. Wholesale values for used trucks collapsed. Trade-in offers dropped by $8,000 or more in a matter of months. Buyers who paid top dollar just a year earlier now owed more than their trucks were worth. The same scarcity that drove prices sky high flipped into a glut almost overnight. Showrooms filled with unsold vehicles, and the sticker shock sent customers fleeing. The spiral, from chip drought to overpricing to inventory gridlock, left both buyers and sellers stranded, each blaming the other for a crisis nobody saw coming. Dealerships once thrived on a steady rhythm, trucks in, trucks out, cash flowing like clockwork. That rhythm is gone. On a muggy July afternoon in Indiana, Tom Woodford's principal stares at a lot packed corner to corner with unsold F-150s. The numbers are relentless. A 113-day supply of new vehicles, almost double what's considered healthy. Each one sits on a short-term loan, the so-called floor plan, racking up interest by the hour. In 2020, carrying costs hovered around $20,000 a month. Now, that same dealership pays $115,000 every month just to keep inventory on the lot. Insurance, depreciation, and ballooning floor plan rates, up from 3% to nearly 9%, eat whatever profit remains. Overflow storage lots fill up at $4,000 a month, sometimes more. Dealers in Missouri and Ohio report lot values of $30 to $38 million. But the real figure is what the bank demands. Balloon payments, stricter covenants, and threats of foreclosure if inventory doesn't move. Every day a truck sits is another day of bleeding cash. Incentives barely cover half the interest. Ford's new 1.25% floor plan credit provides a sliver of relief, but it's not enough. Stellantis dealers, waiting for their own lifeline, watch as costs pile up and patience runs thin. A dealer in Nebraska puts it bluntly, "Every day we keep them, we bleed money to the bank. Ford's not saving us. Stellantis is cutting us loose." The showroom is quiet. The service bays echo. Each unsold truck isn't just metal and rubber. It's a liability, a silent drain threatening to pull the business under. For hundreds of local owners, the dream of passing the dealership to the next generation is slipping away, one interest payment at a time. Mid-September. Ford's top executives gather behind closed doors, the mood brittle, every phone silenced. The numbers on the screen are impossible to ignore. Inventory swelling, warranty costs outpacing profits, and a generation of buyers vanishing from the market. At the head of the table, Ford's CEO lays it bare. The company faces an existential risk, not from competition or technology, but from the ground shifting beneath their feet. The old certainty that Americans would always return for a new truck, no matter the price, is gone. Across town, Stellantis board members debate their own survival. The $2.7 billion quarterly loss hangs over every conversation, a weight that no cost-cutting or model refresh can lift. Executives argue over whether to slash prices, double down on electric trucks, or plead for government relief. But the core problem remains. The buyers have disappeared, and the trucks keep piling up. Ford's leadership voices a warning that echoes through every automaker in Detroit. The business model that built these empires is collapsing. Electric vehicles promise a future, but margins are thin and demand is uncertain. Legacy trucks, once the golden goose, now threaten to bankrupt dealers and manufacturers alike. Behind the boardroom doors, the tone is different now. Not just anxious, but urgent. Every decision carries the shadow of failure. Every missed sale is another step closer to the edge. The crisis is no longer theoretical. For Detroit's giants, survival itself hangs in the balance. Raina sits at her kitchen table, staring at a payment book that feels heavier every month. She bought her Ram Rebel in 2017, back when the numbers made sense. A working-class salary, a modest loan, the promise that her truck would hold its value. Now, that promise is gone. She checked her trade-in value last week, down more than 25% from its peak. A drop so steep, it wiped out any equity she thought she had. The dealership's offer wouldn't even cover her remaining loan balance. The numbers on her statement don't lie. She's underwater, trapped in a loan on a truck she can't afford to sell or replace. Raina isn't alone. Across the country, the same story unfolds in driveways and parking lots. Delinquency rates on auto loans have climbed back to levels last seen in 2009. Nearly 1 in 20 borrowers is now more than 60 days behind, and repossession agents are working overtime. For every viral video of a truck being towed away, there are thousands more families quietly falling behind, forced to choose between making the car payment or buying groceries. The pain is personal, but the numbers are national. A wave of missed payments rolling through the heart of the industry, leaving stress and uncertainty in its wake. Industry analysts are running the numbers, and the outlook is grim. If current trends hold, as many as 1 in 4 mid-sized dealerships may be forced to close their doors by next year. That's thousands of family businesses gone. The warning lights are everywhere. Ballooning floor plan costs, mountains of unsold trucks, and a customer base that's lost faith in both the product and the process. The dealers who survive will do so by the slimmest of margins, relying on trust rebuilt one handshake at a time. But the cost pressures aren't stopping at the showroom. New tariffs on Chinese battery components are about to add at least $1,500 to the price of every electric truck rolling off a Ford or Ram assembly line. For manufacturers already struggling to break even on electric vehicles, that's a blow that could turn a fragile experiment into a financial sinkhole. Stellantis estimates tariffs will drain $1.5 billion from its bottom line in a single year. Ford faces the same headwind, with every price hike pushing more buyers out of reach. The next chapter isn't written yet. Will the industry shrink to a shadow of its former self, or find a way to earn back the trust of buyers who have walked away? The answer will decide not just the fate of Ford and Ram, but the future of the American car market itself. In just one quarter, Stellantis, Ram's parent company, reported a $2.7 billion loss, while Ford set aside $4 billion to cover soaring warranty costs. These numbers are not abstract. They reflect millions of Americans, like Jennifer, who are now locked out of the new car market by historic price hikes and trade-in losses. The evidence shows dealers are stuck with 113 days of unsold inventory and facing floor plan interest rates near 9%, pushing some to the brink of closure. Yet, what remains unclear is whether Detroit's biggest automakers can rebuild consumer trust or adapt their business models fast enough to survive. What is certain, the old playbook of high prices and easy sales is broken. As nearly a quarter of mid-sized dealerships risk shutting down and more buyers walk away each month, the warning from Ford and Ram is now reality. This crisis is reshaping the American auto industry, one family and one showroom at a time.